Hello, grade 7 students. This is day 22 of STP Mathematics 2A lesson series. We have missed a few lessons. I hope all of you have done your formative assessment well, and whatever the missed lesson will be uploaded before the term end test. But today I'm not continuing what we stopped. Instead, I'm planning to start the November content because before you go to the school from Monday onwards, so then you are comfortable with the lesson. So this is a lesson where most of the students find difficult. Why? They don't understand the concept behind this, right? I will help you to get this done. So that is chapter 11, right? That is chapter 11, circles, circumference and area. First of all, we want to understand what is a circle and why it is different from the other 2D shapes. Now, if you take a triangle, if you take a square, if you take a rectangle, if you look at another quadrilateral or kite or whatever the shapes that you can see, all the sides are straight edges or the straight lines, right? All the sides are straight lines. But if you look at the circle, so then we do have curved edge like this, okay? We do have curved edge like this, right? So this, we call this outer boundary. We do have a special name for this. This outer boundary we name as the circumference, right? Circumference. And here that this middle point, right? So then here you can see that we will move to page 183, right? So then you can see, so they also given you the same thing. So the introduction, right? The circumference. So that is this part, okay? And the middle point, it is the center. So then I write here that this is the center, okay? From center to the circumference, we call this the radius, R, radius, okay? So then from here to here, what happened? Again, it is radius. From here to here, what happened? Again, it is radius. But if I draw the line like this across the center from A to B, it can be anywhere on the circumference. You start from anywhere on the circumference and you go to another point on the circumference through the center. That length AB we call the diameter, right? The AB we call the diameter. Okay? This we call the diameter. Okay. Now, because of this diameter, children, you can see the circle. It splits the circle exactly into two portions. This one portion that we call the half circle. We know these things, right? Half circle, right? So then what is the diameter? That is the line we draw across the center from one particular point on the circumference to another particular point on the circumference. And then we can see, if I mark this as O, that AO is a radius and OB is also a radius. That means, children, diameter D is equal to 2 times radius, right? You can understand. So then here it is radius, this portion is radius, right? And this portion also radius, and 2R, 2 times radius will be the diameter. Let's say in the question they have given you the radius, the diameter value, and you want to find the radius. How you are going to find the radius? You want to divide the diameter by 2, right? This is how it works, right? We talk about the circumference, that is the outer boundary, and what is the difference between the circle and the other 2D shape. All the other 2D shapes, they do have the straight lines, but here we don't have a straight line. Instead, we do have a curved edge, and in the middle we name as the center. From the center, if you draw a line to any point on the circumference, we name as the radius. And if you draw a line from one particular point on the circumference to another particular point on the circumference across the center, we name it as the diameter. And we learn how the diameter equal to 2 times radius, because from one particular point, as it goes across the center, that whatever the A point to center, the distance is radius. And from center to the other point B, it is also the radius. So then 2 times R or 2 times radius will be the diameter. In the question, by any chance, if they have given the diameter value, if you want to find the radius, you want to divide the diameter value by 2. Because of this diameter, right, we can see 2 exact equal parts of the circle. That one part we call the half circle or the semicircle. Sometimes we name it as the semicircle. We do have 2 semicircles because of the diameter. Okay. Then I'm going to show you one more thing. If you have the circle, so these are additional things, children, right? But you should know. So then here it is the center. If I draw a line across the center, we know that it divides the circle into 2 parts. It splits the circle into 2 parts, right? So then, but by any chance, you just see that here, this is the diameter. This is the diameter. It splits the circle exactly into 2 portions. Right? Into 2 portions, right? So then on the other hand, if I draw another line, right? This line, this is the center, and it starts from this corner and this corner, right? This is not the diameter now. I started from one particular point on the circumference and I went to another particular point on the circumference, but it doesn't go through the center. If that is the case, we name this as the chord. Chord also split the circle into 2 parts, but here it doesn't split it into 2 equal portions. So this is the bigger portion, right? So this is the major portion, right? So then we call this the major segment. This part we call the major segment, right? And this part we call the minor segment. Okay, minor segment. So that means what I wanted to show you here, to explain you here, the diameter exactly splits the circle into 2 portions, 2 equal portions, but the chord, it doesn't do like that. It divides, but it is not exactly the 2 equal portions, exactly into 2 equal portions. Actually, this should be 2 equal, that's the important word, equal portions. One portion we call the semicircle. So then this part we call the semicircle. But when you have the chord, you divide it into unequal pieces, the major segment and the minor segment, right? Now we are moving to our topic today. The topic, it says, children, it's like this. If you want to find the area of the square, I will explain you everything. So then it's kind of a revision. Let's say you have the square. How do you identify the square? So then you have all the sides are equal. Okay. If I name this as length, and this will be length, and this will be length, and this will be length. How do you find the area? You multiply the length by length. How do you find the perimeter of this shape? What do you mean by the perimeter, children? The outer boundary. You add L, and then you add L, L, and L. Simply, it is 4L, right? That is how you find the area and the perimeter. So as you have the straight edges, you start from one corner and you go around the shape and add the length of each side. That is how it works. Let's say that you have the triangle for an example. So then how do you do this? So then let's say you have A, B, C, and I draw the imaginary line, right? This, right? So this we call the perpendicular height. Don't worry if you are not familiar with these words, because the chapter 10, it talks about all these things. How do you get the area of this? That is half into base into perpendicular height. If you have not learned these, don't worry about that. Explaining these, I have a purpose, perpendicular height, right? So how do you get the perimeter? How do you get the perimeter? You just add the size A, side B, and side C, right? Let's say if you have a rectangle, children, you have a rectangle. We know opposite sides are equal, right? So then if you take this as length, and this will be width, right? And how do you get the area of this? You just multiply the length by the width, right? Area, we find length multiplied by width. How do you get the perimeter, children? You just add length, width, length, width. And simply, it is 2L plus 2W. Now you can see here why I explain all these things, even though it is not in the chapter. Here, in all the shapes, we can take other examples too, but here I'm taking only these 3 examples because I want to explain you. When you're calculating the perimeter and area, always we consider a length, the straight line, right? We had, especially when it comes to the perimeter, you just measure the outer boundaries and you just added them together. That is how it works. But when it comes to the circles, children, you don't have the straight edges like that. Mathematicians, they have done various researches and they have found if it is a circle, right? If it is a circle, how do you get the area of a circle? They have found a special formula, 5r squared. Here, r is the radius of the circle. What is 5? It's a special mathematical symbol. Later you learned what it is. And mathematicians, they have done again so many researches and experiments. They have found what is the numerical value of this 5 symbol, right? I will tell you what it is after explaining the perimeter. When it comes to the circle, the outer boundary, perimeter is the outer boundary. Here we do have a special name for the outer boundary, that is circumference, right? Here, circumference. You want to understand these terms very well, children. The outer boundary we name as the perimeter. But when I started the lesson, I told you, when it comes to these circles, outer boundary, we do have a special name, that is the circumference. Therefore, when I'm talking about the perimeter of the whole circle or the full circle, the term I'm using is the circumference. And mathematicians, they have found, so then this is 2, 5R, O, 5D. R is the radius, 5 is the special mathematical symbol, and again 5 is the special mathematical symbol, and D is the diameter. Okay, so the value of 5, they have identified it is 22/7. Sometimes they use this as 3.142, or some textbook they use this as 3.14. You don't want to worry that if you have so many values for the same 5 symbol, what am I going to do? Don't worry. In the exam, they will give you, consider 5 as 22/7. Consider 5 as 3.142. Consider 5 as 3.14. Therefore, you don't want to worry. But let's say by any chance, if they have not mentioned anything, so then you have 3 values. Then what are we going to do? If they have not given, children, what we do, we just mention, I considered 5 equal to 22/7. In that case, I can pick one of these items, and before starting my answer, I explain the marker, this is the 5 value I use. In which occasion we are doing like that? if they have not mentioned the 5 value, right? Okay, so then whenever you have a circle and whenever you want to find the area, that is 5r squared. When you want to find the perimeter or the outer boundary length, we have a special name for that. When you talk about the whole circle, that we call the circumference. So how do you find the circumference, children? 2, 5r or 5d. Children, give me a second. So then there is a background noise with my washing machine. Give me a second. Sorry about it. Okay, so then we will move to the formulas one by one. Let's say now you have the full circle. You want to find this is the center and this is the radius, right? You find the area of this circle, 5r squared. What does this mean, children? 5 times r times r. Okay. Then we have the perimeter. Then we have the perimeter. How do you find this? 2, 5r. What does this mean? 2 times 5 times r. Or you have that, you just see 2, 5r means 2 times 5 times r, no children? So that means 2 times r times 5. And 2 times r we learn it is d, no? So then instead of writing d5, right? Instead of writing d times 5, we can write it as 5 times d. That is how we write this as 5d, okay? Then the next way, O, we can write the perimeter. It is 5d. That means 5 multiplied by d, like this. 5 multiplied by d. So this is the full, the circle. Children, and one more thing, I will add few links, the YouTube links, which were done by me during the COVID pandemic season. You can go through there because there I have explained sums related to this, right? Kind of advanced sums. If you can go through them, if you can pause the video and do them with me, so then you are done with this lesson. Believe me. So, but there are some technical issues because I have not used the microphones, and that was the first time I did my videos, and the sound balancing, so many technical issues are there. But if you can go through those, I'll upload the whole playlist. You can go through them and you can identify that what are they, and then you can go through these sums. Then you are done with this, the topic. Right? Most of the students, they are struggling, and because I would say because of those videos and that video series, that most of the students identified me as a teacher who explained the things easily. And that is how I started my the tuition classes too. I'm telling all these things not to show that what I did, but to tell you that how I have explained there, that kind of easy, the tips I have explained there. Therefore, please watch them because you can learn a lot. Before you go to the school, before you handle the school work, if you can go through all these videos, you are done with the topic, right? Then we will move to the semicircle. Now you just see, children, if you look at this is a semicircle, no? Okay, so this is the center, and this part is the radius, and this part also the radius. How do you get the area now? Tell me. How do you get the area? Full circle, it is 5r squared. As I have half of it, I divide it by 2. Or else I can do this as 5 times r multiplied by 1 over 2. The same thing. Dividing by 2 something is equal to multiplying by 1 over 2. This is easy, children, because that here I take the half of the full circle. I know the full circle area, that is 5r squared, and I take the half of that, that is 5r squared over 2. But when it comes to the outer boundary, right, we don't use the circumference word, because the word circumference was there to the full circle. If we are talking about the semicircle, children, keep this in your mind. We can use the word perimeter. Okay, perimeter, that means outer boundary. I start from one corner, I go like this, right? I'll use a different color. I go like this. Like this, and I come to the start point. So that means AB curve length, right? So that is the AB curve length. Curve length plus AB straight length. That's the full perimeter. Okay. So how do you get the AB curve length? If it is the full circle, that is 25r. But now I have half of it, therefore I divide it by 2. And then I take the AB straight one, so that is 2r. So then I can simplify this. So then this will be equal to 5r plus 2r. Okay. Why I got it like that? You want to understand, if this is my land and I want to have the fence around the land, children, so then first I want to have the curved part. Then I have the straight one. If I don't consider the straight one, and if I just take the 25r divided by 2, that is kind of that I have the fence, that it is the open land now, because I have not covered the AB straight length, right? So then always you want to come area, it is easier. If it is a half circle, you divide it by 2. If it is quarter circle, you divide it by 4. But when it comes to the perimeter, you want to be mindful. Perimeter in the sense that the outer boundary, the whole thing we do have, you want to start from a particular point and you go around and then you come to the initial position, that is here according to my example, point A. You start from point A, you take the curve path, then go to B. From B to A, you go to the initial position. So then it is the straight path, right? So then the curve path, how do you find? If I have the full circle, it is 25r, the perimeter or the circumference. But here I don't have the full circle. Instead, I'm going only the half of it. Therefore, I divide it by 2. And for that, I add the AB straight length, that is 2r. Let's say they have used the 5D. By any chance, they have used the 5D. Perimeter is equal to 5D is the full circle, divide by 2 plus the straight edge is D, because 2R is equal to D now. So then you have something like this. So then here 5D, the whole thing, divide by 2, right? So then the next one, the 5R, 5R, the whole thing divide by 2. And you can simplify and finally you can write 5R plus 2R. Okay, then we will move to the next one. Let's say you have a quarter circle like this. You have quarter circle, right? So this is A, B, C, and you can see that this is the radius and this is also the radius, okay? And how do you find the area? This is very easy. How? The full circle is 5r squared and you divide this by 4. Or else you can do 5 times r times r times 1 over 4. That's it. But when you talk about the perimeter, children, we do have two methods. Perimeter, you want to understand how. Perimeter, how do you find? You start from A. Then we take the AB curve length, right? And we add BC straight length, right? And then CA straight length. Right? Let's say I use the 2-5R rule. 2-5R, I divide by 4 this time. Why is that? Because the full circle, around the full circle, it is 2-5R. But now I don't have the full circle. I have quarter of this. Therefore, I divided by 4. And then, so then here it is R, and here it is R. So then 2 times 1, 2 times 2, right? So then I divide this, and this is 5R over 2 plus 2R. On the other hand, if I use D, 5D over 4, because I have only quarter of it, and I have the R length and the R length. R length and R length, I can write it as D. So then here 5D divided by 4 plus D. Hope it is clear for all of you. Sometimes you can't understand this until we do few examples, right? But the next video I'll do the sums. But before that, you want to be thorough. You can have a short note, the whole thing you write, and you keep that take one A4 and copy down everything in both the sides with all these diagrams and all. So that A4 will be your the short note. Just before the exam, you just go through and see that what are the equations you want to go through. By any chance, children, let's say you have something like this. What is this, children? So this is the sector of a circle. And let's say that this angle is theta. Now you have A, that you just imagine that the pizza piece, right, the whole, that the round pizza, when you cut it something like this, you have. Then how do you get the, you just imagine the full circle. What is the full circle area, children? Full circle area is 5R squared. Okay. Full circle in the sense, children, 360 degrees. It is 5R squared. Let's say the 1 degree. Let's say I have tiny portion that with 1 degree. How do you find the area? 5R squared divided by 360 degrees. But here I don't have that much of tiny portion. I have theta degree, right? I have theta degree. Theta can be any value. Don't worry about this symbol, children. So then this is theta, right? So that means it can be anything. It can be 30, it can be 40, 60, anything. It can be even 120, 105, anything. So then I take the theta. How do you get that? 5R squared divide by 360 multiplied by theta. Okay. So then the area, how do you find, children? You get the full circle, you divide it by 360 and multiply by the given theta value in the center. Okay. The same way, if I write it like this, now here I want to get the perimeter, that is the outer boundary. If I start from A, first I want to get the A to B curve path, then B to C straight line, and I couldn't mention that this is what? This AB, that the BC is what, children? So that is the radius. And what is this? This is also the radius, right? So then we'll think that if it is the perimeter, the 2-5R full circle is what? Full circle, it is 2-5R, or else it is 5D. That means 360 covers 2-5R or 5D. That means 1 degree, it covers 2-5R divided by 360. Or else we can write 5D divide by 360. If you have theta degrees, we have 25r and 360 degrees multiplied by theta degree. Okay, and here 5d divided by 360 degree multiplied by theta. Right? So then this is the theta perimeter. Here what I calculated, children? Only the AB curve part here, right? So this is what? The length of the AB curve part. Length of the AB curve path, right? Curve path. But the perimeter is different, no? The perimeter is what? Perimeter you want to get. So that is the AB curve length. AB curve length. And then the BC straight length. And we have CA straight length. Okay. So then here I can write 25R divided by 360 multiplied by theta. For the whole thing, I add R plus R. That means I can write 25R divided by 360 degree multiplied by theta, the whole thing plus 2R. Right? That is how it works. Or else let's say that I take the O, I take the perimeter, the 5D formula I'm going to use, children. So 5D divided by 360 multiplied by theta. Then you have R and R. We know R and R, it is diameter. So then we have 5D divided by 360 multiplied by theta plus D. This is how it works. Now children, these are the equations you should keep in your mind. So I started this lesson explaining all these things. Before that, I explained the features of the circle and all. I will then go to the description and go through the extra videos I have provided, right? Because it is kind of the advanced questions I'm talking. If you can manage them, again, I'm telling you are done with this topic. Okay, children, we will discuss the sums related to this in the next video. Till then, stay safe. By any chance, if you can't understand, please pause or the rewatch it slowly. You can understand. This is very easy. You want to understand why we divide by 2, why we divide by 4, why divide by 360, and why we are adding R and R. So once you understood these concepts, so then you are done. Okay, children, we'll meet again next day. Till then, stay safe. Bye.